take his 5/5, put the ethereal armor on, and then swing with everything. Wow. That was a surprising victory. What's up, guys? I am coming to you from the middle of Hurricane Milton. I am here in Florida, and instead of dealing with a hurricane, we are playing a sweet Azorius Enchantment deck on Arena in Standard. So this deck is awesome. If you like aggressive decks or synergistic tempo decks, this might be the deck for you. This revolves around the Eerie ability. So whenever an enchantment enters, or whenever you fully unlock a room, this will do something for you. In the case of Optimistic Scavenger, like we saw in the Boros Auras video, you are getting a +1/+1 counter every single time this happens. And somehow Wizards did not put this triggers once per turn on it, so this can be really abused. This also works with creatures like Gremlin Tamer. This is an Azorius exclusive card, which has the Eerie ability, but whenever an enchantment enters or a room unlocks, you create a 1/1 Gremlin. So you can flood the board with tons of 1/1s with this guy. Now, this is especially awesome with all the enchantments that we have in this deck. So we even have enchantment creatures like Inquisitive Glimmer, both a creature and an enchantment to trigger your Eerie. It even makes your other enchantments cost 1 less, and it makes your rooms cost 1 less to unlock. Other enchantment creatures like Enduring Innocence allow you to have some lifelink on the board and also give you some card draw. So every time a creature with power 2 or less, which is almost everything in your deck, enters, then you're going to draw a card. And when it dies, it actually even comes back to the battlefield, so this effect does not go away. This synergizes incredibly with Gremlin Tamer because when this enchantment creature enters, your Gremlin Tamer will trigger Eerie, creating a 1/1 Gremlin, and then that 1/1 Gremlin will conversely trigger your Enduring Innocence to make you draw a card. So it effectively just draws you a card and creates a 1/1 on ETB. We even run Enduring Curiosity, an enchantment creature that you can flash in at instant speed, sometimes only costing 3 mana if you have your Inquisitive Glimmer out already. And this guy draws you a card every single time a creature hits your opponent. That's not whenever one or more creatures hits your opponent, that's any creature hitting your opponent will draw you a card. So if you have flooded out your board with Gremlin Tamers, I have drawn like up to 10 cards in a turn off of all of those 1/1s hitting my opponent when I have an Enduring Curiosity flashed out at instant speed. It is some really sweet stuff. We also have some really good value enchantments in here. So things like Grand Entryway / Elegant Rotunda. When you unlock the left side of this, you create a 1/1 enchantment. So this is effectively 2 enchantments entering the battlefield at the same time to double trigger your Eerie. And the right side gives you some additional value of putting counters on stuff while again triggering your Eerie when you unlock it. We've also got Silent Hall Creeper, an unblockable enchantment creature that triggers Eerie, but when it hits, it can draw a card, it can get counters, it can become a copy of another creature you control, you can choose another Eerie creature, you could even choose an Enduring Curiosity to double your card draw. And then this works especially well with buffs like Ethereal Armor, which can give your creature a humongous buff with all of the enchantments you have on the battlefield. And when you put it on an unblockable Silent Hall Creeper, I've gotten this to like a 13/13 that is unblockable before. It's been crazy, it's been awesome. You also have a really sweet enchantment-based removal package in this deck. So we have Bottomless Pool, which is a single mana to bounce something to your opponent's hand, and then later in the game, you can get some card draw advantage by unlocking the locker room part of it. You have probably the most insane removal spell in Standard right now, Sheltered by Ghosts. This is just 2 mana to enchant a creature you control, triggering your Eerie, but it gives your enchanted creature +1, lifelink, and ward 2 at the same time as it steals a creature off of your opponent's battlefield. And that's actually not even true. It doesn't just steal a creature off your opponent's battlefield, it steals any non-land permanent. You can take an artifact, you can take one of their key enchantments, you can take a planeswalker from them. This is an incredibly powerful card, and this lifelink can easily turn around a match at the same time. You've also got this Shard Mage's Rescue. This is one of the best protection spells that they've recently printed. It's a single mana flash to enchant a creature you control, and it gives +1/+1 and hexproof. So you can trigger your Eerie while stealing your opponent's removal spell and effectively negating it. It is a very, very sweet and synergistic deck. Let's take a look at the sideboard here, though. We've got 4 Into the Flood Maws. These are very potent against the aggro matchup. If they're stacking up their Heartfire Hero or something to make a giant mouse, and then you single mana bounce it back to their hand, you've gained so much card advantage over your opponent, and at the same time, you've completely neutralized their threat. For the more controlling matchups, we've got Negate, just purely countering a non-creature spell. As simple as that, can just win you the game on the spot against a giant spell that they try to cast. Exercise, you guys have seen this one. This is a new favorite of mine in all my white decks. It's just so flexible. Almost all important creatures to kill in this format right now are power 4 or greater, or are enchantment creatures. So this can really wipe out a ton of the big threats that this deck faces. And this is even better than some of the variants of this that we've seen in the past, because this can exile an artifact on top of all of that. So if they put a really threatening artifact like an Urabrask's Forge out there or something, Exercise is an easy way to just, bam, get that off instantly. We also have Ossification, which is particularly potent for Planeswalker matchups. Like, you can take their Liliana, you can take their Vraska, but it also just exiles a creature. At the same time, it triggers Eerie because it's an enchantment, and oftentimes this just costs 1 mana because you have an Inquisitive Glimmer out, reducing this cost to a single white. And then lastly, my spicy addition to this is Kidnap, which is a enchantment you may not have even seen before if you didn't play much Bloomburrow. This is a rare for 4 mana that will trigger your Eerie because it's an enchantment. And when you enchant the creature, you tap it, and if you don't promise the gift, you put 3 stun counters on it, but you actually control the enchanted creature. So if they put something crazy like a Shelly, Shieldred, if they put an Overlord, you can tap it, and you don't even care about the stun counters, but because by the time the stun counters come off, that's when the Overlord actually becomes an enchantment creature. So this is a really powerful card against those decks that are throwing giant creatures at you. You can just snatch them away from them and turn them into your own advantage. So again, if you like synergistic decks, if you like more aggressively styled decks, that this one even has an excellent matchup against other aggro players, you should absolutely try this. So let's get into the games. Let's hope this Hurricane does not knock out my power while we're doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so this start is looking really solid for us, actually. A turn 1 Optimistic Scavenger is always powerful in this deck. We've got Ethereal Armor for pumping, Gremlin Tamer to just crank out little dudes, and then this is a really nice removal package over here. Bottomless Pool, just bouncing something for 1 mana while triggering Eerie can really slow people down, and Sheltered by Ghosts is just... they should have never printed that card. It's absolutely insane. Just absolutely crazy. I think if we were on the play, this would be very, very hard to beat. Okay, this is... oh, a Domain, okay. I'm just going to go Scavenger here. I've actually not played Domain with this deck before, so this will be an interesting matchup. I do think that they're pretty favored, just by nature of them having such a strong removal suite, and their board wipes are pretty effective against stuff like Gremlin Tamer. Our deck really gets wrecked by temporary lockdown too, so we do need to be cautious of that. I think I'm probably not going to commit too hard to the board on this turn for that reason exactly. The great thing is Shelter by Ghost actually can hit the temporary lockdown, and yeah, Bottomless Pool cannot, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and attack first. He only has 2 land colors right now, so he does not have Domain, or a way to cast his Leyline Binding. Okay, that's a bad sign. We'll go ahead and Ethereal Armor somebody. I think the Optimistic Scavenger seems like a good target here. We'd really love to draw a land, but beggars cannot always be choosers. Yeah, sure. Go ahead and crack this on the Gremlin Tamer. Nice, that is what we wanted to see. I don't think we want a 3rd Sheltered by Ghosts. We'd really love find more threats. Find another land for Enduring Curiosity would be great. Here, if he plays... Oh, cool. Okay. I was going to say if he plays his Angel, then that's kind of annoying for him. Glimmer is nice here. Glimmer bounce one of those is pretty sweet. Good Enduring Innocence. Let's organize this hand a little bit better. The bounce spell over there. Yeah, I think we're going to go Glimmer, bounce one of those, swing. Actually, we'll just start by bouncing. There's no reason to pre-combat the Glimmer. So used to playing it early just to get some nice card advantage out of it. And swing with this bad boy. We're just going to have a humongous board here. Him blocking this as a chump does make me feel like he probably has like a Sunfall or a Lockdown next turn. Okay, maybe not. In that case, I don't mind running out the Glimmer. If he doesn't have it, we're just in such a commanding position, and if he does, I think that we can come back. We'll just have to see what he's got. Herd Migration. Okay, so he's a little bit stuck on lands, it seems. Now he might have a Lockdown here, which would kind of suck. But it's not the end of the world if he does. Okay, and just passing. Yeah. So we're in a pretty commanding position here, I'd have to say. I think we're going to go ahead and just swing out, and then we may flash in Enduring Curiosity and just try to draw a bunch. It's actually important to check for lethal when you have this deck, because Sheltered by Ghosts is just such a strong card that you might be able to just take people out with it. Especially if you have something like the +1/+1 and first strike for each enchantment you control. But here we do not have lethal. He is a holding priority, so thinking maybe a Get Lost or something. He could have a Leyline Binding here. We'll flash in Enduring Curiosity. This is definitely giving me Sunfall vibes, but I think just having the card draw here... Oh, that's gross, actually. We can get that back through our Sheltered by Ghosts, though. Yep. So in a way, we kind of got spared from him stealing this with the Leyline Binding. Here we will go... I believe Gremlin Tamer and Ethereal Armor is probably the strongest play. Actually, I think we'll go Enduring Innocence. It's tricky, right? Because if we draw a land next turn, I'd really want to play Enduring Innocence now to go Gremlin Tamer Sheltered. But if we don't, I really want to play Sheltered by Ghosts and get our get this Overlord off the board. I think this is probably the safest play. Again, once Domain hits like 6 lands, it's kind of over for any deck that's playing against them. This is why I think Domain is one of the most annoying decks in the format, is they just sit there slowing you down a whole bunch until they're like, well, I just win now, there's nothing you can do. But that is life. This is, if you can't tell, I love playing aggro. So we'll Gremlin Tamer, we'll try to draw a land. That is not great, but we can bounce the Overlord here. I think we are cooked. We'll see if he has the land to replay it, and of course he does. So the good news here, Silent Hole Creeper is a nice pickup, is we can Sheltered by Ghosts some stuff. Let's see, if we Sheltered by Ghosts, hit his Angel or something, and then Ethereal Armor this, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enchantments, so it'll be +5/+5. That's pretty massive, actually. In that case, I kind of want to hit the Leyline Binding with it. And again, if he's got another removal spell, that's just going to suck, but I think he does. It could just be that he's flipping the, that he has the ability to flip the incubator token, but the fact that he's sitting here thinking about this, ugh. So in this position, I really do want to take the Leyline Binding. Now that we've got Ward 2 on this, I feel a lot better about putting the Ethereal Armor on that guy. Could put it on this too. We're not summoning sick, but I think the lifelink is pretty important here. We could even just Sheltered by Ghosts. We need to put it on the Gremlin Tamer just so it can't be blocked. And then we'll swing with just this because I don't want him to flip that incubator on us. Like that? Sure. Fine by me. Enduring Curiosity feels so powerful alongside all of the Gremlin tokens. That's just what a disgusting top deck. Holy crap. We do have the Sheltered by Ghosts, which is nice. But like, geez. Absolutely just disgusting. So here I kind of want to go, Sheltered by Ghosts on a Gremlin, take his 5/5, put the Ethereal Armor on that same one, and then swing with everything and draw some cards out of it. It's probably got like 17 more like Leyline Bindings and stuff, but yeah, so if we just hit that, it's gone forever. We put this here. And now if we swing with everything, we're just drawing hella cards, right? Yeah, we'll draw 3 here, which feels very nice. It's giving me Sunfall vibes right now, which sucks, but hey, draw a million cards feels good against Sunfall. Unless they're all lands. I think here we're actually not supposed to commit the Silent Hull Creeper to the board. I'm very much anticipating another board wipe soon. But yeah, Enduring Curiosity feels so nice in a position like this. Let's see what he targets here. We'll probably just go for another Shard Mage's Rescue. Keep dudes on the board. We start by doing this, just drawing a card off the Enduring Innocence. See what we get. If we get removal, feels pretty nice. We could unlock one of those locker rooms. I think we'll start here. Mute this guy, who's playing Domain. Okay, draw was pretty bad. Go ahead and play our land for a turn. I think in this position we're supposed to swing out and draw 2 cards. And he's willing to take 11, that's pretty nice for us. Let's see what we draw. Sweet. Draw again. Land city out here. Yeah, I'm not super thrilled about committing to the board in this position. We could just unlock this. We could unlock this, which I think I'm actually happiest to do. And we'll just pass. Sweet. Wow. That was a surprising victory. I think we did get pretty fortunate with him top decking a bunch of lands, but the fact that we came back after so much removal, in addition to some of his bombs, I think really shows the power of this deck, right? Like, we fought through an Angel, we fought through multiple removal spells, we fought through a board wipe, we fought through the Overlord of the Mistmoors coming back multiple times, and really just all this card draw we have off things like Enduring Innocence, off Enduring Curiosity. We didn't even play the Silent Hull Creeper. We definitely saw the power of Sheltered by Ghost there. That was pretty nuts. I think Ossification is just excellent here. Exercise, an all-star is in this matchup. You know, I'm interested in Kidnap. It's tricky, I think, because the fact that the main things we want to hit are like the Overlords or Atraxa, but we don't get the ETBs off Kidnap. So I think it's better to just remove them with Exercise. I'll throw in the Negates though, because that feels very powerful against Leyline Binding. It feels really nice against if he's trying to remove us with Get Lost, or if he plays a Herd Migration or something along those lines. Things we'll take out here, I think Grand Entryway is pretty awful in this matchup. Again, this is great for the low to the ground aggro matchups because you can just trigger Eerie to make a bunch of 1/1s and then put counters on stuff. But against a board wipe deck, it's pretty rough. Things like Sheltered by Ghost really need to stay in, Shard Mage's Rescue really needs to stay in here, and all of our card advantage engines need to stay in. I don't think this is quite so good in this matchup, because oftentimes he has ETBs, like bouncing an Archangel to the hand doesn't feel great, or bouncing an Atraxa to the hand doesn't feel great, even though it's a little bit of a tempo advantage, and we're not playing it that much early on. So I think I'm actually going to take these out, and we're going to rely on our other removal that we have. And I'm also going to take out one Ethereal Armor, just for the fact that he has so much removal in this deck that if we don't have a Shard Mage's Rescue or like a Negate or something, it feels really bad to get 2 for 1 by putting Ethereal Armor on our dudes. Still an incredibly powerful card though, so I think 3 of in the deck is still warranted. Alright, J-Mac, let's see what you got this time. Those wings just like cover up Kiora's face so hard. Pretty solid hand. We can go 1, 2, 3, and then we have removal as needed. We'll start with Seachrome. Let's organize this a little bit. Silent Hull Creeper number 2. And he's starting with a Hushwood Verge, which is kind of nice because this does not do any work for hitting Domain for him. And a Sheltered by Ghost is an excellent pickup here. I think we'll go ahead and drop the Silent Hull Creeper. Spread our damage out a little bit. See what he wants to remove. Nope. Fine by me. So we are in lockdown territory here. Got to be a little bit careful about how we choose to proceed. I think the play may be to first swing with both, see what we draw off the Silent Hull Creeper, or even just put the counters on it. And then maybe Enduring Innocence post-combat. It's tricky because Enduring Innocence does trigger our Optimistic Scavenger. I think we can go for it pre-combat. Again, getting locked down doesn't feel too horrible here. I'm thinking he's an Elspeth Smite here based on the way his priority is checking right now. Yeah, makes sense. Fortunate that that did not hit Enduring Innocence or Enduring Curiosity. Those feel very bad to get hit by an Elspeth Smite. We did hit a land, which is very nice. He is just holding up a bunch of mana here. I think we'll start out by trying to draw a card off Enduring Innocence. Sure. Yeah, I kind of want to put the counter on the Hull Creeper. And you know, we could exile that. The thing is, next turn we're getting Sunfalled, right? So I think we can be a little bit patient. Archangel, sure. Pretty unfortunate in this position. The one downside of Exercise in this matchup is that you cannot hit the Archangel with it. I'm kind of happy to go Sheltered by Ghosts, though. Put the counter on himself. Get that out of here. And I don't want to particularly commit to the board right now. This has ward, so if he wants to like get lost it, it's going to take his whole turn. Just an Overlord, okay. Could be a lot worse. So we will exercise the Leyline Binding. Get our Enduring Innocence back. Get an Eerie trigger here. Put the Inquisitive Glimmer on the board. Draw a card. Put another Eerie trigger here. Now we have a very good attacker. We'll go to combat and we'll say, hiya. How you wanna block, baby? Give me that life. And land and pass. Probably getting Sunfalled here. Yeah, definitely a board wipe turn. And this is why we have Exercise. It's very nice that that does not hit the Enduring Innocence. Let's see, what does he got under here? Yeah, we'll start by exercising that. Again, just showing how strong Exercise is here. Wow, I did not realize that Sheltered by Ghosts auto-equips. That is very nice. Yeah, we'll be taking that Angel, please. And we'll put the counter here. Put another counter here. That Ward 2 does so much work. I'm just going to attack and play a land and pass. Again, just being careful to play around board wipes here. It's probably got a Sunfall or something going on, right? Atraxa here is pretty tough, but yeah, makes sense. This card's just so disgusting. I miss Modern where you play this on like turn 2 with your Goryo's Vengeance. So he got, yeah, pretty powerful hand there. Is that a negate? Yeah, that's a very disgusting hand against what we have right now. Especially with us just continuing to draw lands. Counterintuitively, I do kind of want to play the Glimmer here, just so we can get some card draw. Let's draw first. Well, I guess we have to target no matter what, huh? And we are just going to draw lands. Yeah, we're in a pretty rough spot here. I think we just, yeah, we're gonna mute you, buddy. You're very annoying. We'll wait for him to, he can swing, he can Sunfall, whatever. I imagine he's gonna Leyline Binding us this turn, in which case we can get the negate out of his hand with our Shard Mage's Rescue. But we've got to get some pretty good draws here. We've already seen 2 of our exercises and 1 of our Sheltered by Ghosts, but if we got another one of those or an Ossification, that would be very powerful for our Atraxa. Glimmer is not going to do it here. We will continue committing to the board. And I think in this position, we actually do need to go ahead and make a big Enduring Innocence. Play our Scavenger. That way we'll get a trigger off our Shard Mage's Rescue. And I'm actually going to swing with this. Yep, makes sense. And let's get him to use that negate. There we go. Again, in these matchups, if they hit 7 lands, if they hit an Atraxa on the board, it's pretty much over. But I think we actually played very solidly here. These are very difficult to navigate matchups. An interesting use of the Archangel there. I think in this position we're declaring no blocks. We'll let him go up to 31. Yeah, that's game. These lands, man. Yeah, so again, I think Bottomless Pool would have felt pretty bad in that matchup. Grand Entryway was going to do nothing for us. We just need to really prioritize our removal. We did not see any negate there, unfortunately. But I think we run that back on the play, and I think if we have an aggressive enough start, if he stumbles at all, if he doesn't hit a board wipe at the right time, this is a pretty solid matchup. We'll be on the play. Oh man, this is a very reactive hand. It kind of sucks if we don't draw a creature too, so I think we got a mulligan this one. This hand is much more excellent. I think here we're actually binning a land. That might be a little bit greedy, but I think if we draw another land at any point, we are just solidly in business here. In this position, I think we just go Glimmer. Play counter here. Swing here. We'll Meticulous Archive, see what we got. We'll bend that. He does not have domain quite yet, so we'll just do that and pass. Lockdown? Sure. Unfortunately, yeah, Lockdown will not interact with our Shardmage's Rescue, but if we draw a creature, we can Sheltered by Ghost it. And again, the downside of this deck is when you just have a hand like this, where they remove all your creatures and then you just top deck nothing but auras. I think if I was comparing this to Boros Auras, I would like the Boros Auras deck a little bit more. There just seems like it's so explosive that if they don't deal with you like super early, they're kind of cooked. Here, you can't win that fast, so then you end up with a hand like this, and you just kind of sit here doing nothing. And it definitely feels bad to lose a match just to the Arena Shuffler, right? We have so much protection for our non-existent creatures. This hand is so powerful. The moment we have a creature, he's never touching it. Okay, there is a creature. We're gonna pass. We do not have the mana to both do that and Sheltered by Ghosts. But we can flash this in and Shardmage's Rescue it. I think if he has an Atraxa next turn, it's pretty much over anyway. Or if he has a counter spell for this or something. Okay. I'm expecting he has just plenty of removal here. But we can make him use some of it. See if we draw another creature next turn. If he double Leyline Bindings or double removes this, I do not mind with the sheer quantity of Shardmage's Rescues we've got in our hand. Okay, so he's letting it have Hexproof. That's interesting. Huh, I did not expect that. For the amount of time he spent thinking. Really hovering over that lockdown, huh? Yeah, I mean, I could Shelter by Ghost the lockdown, but that really plays into another board wipe. I think we'll go ahead and just draw first. We'll see if he wants to kill this. If he does, I'd be a little bit surprised. We are putting him to 9 though, which is pretty solid. Tishana's. we will go ahead and Shard Mage's Rescue that since we have 500,000 Shard Mage's Rescues. Oh, actually we can't because he's countering the ability, isn't he? So we'll just go ahead and commit this. You know, crazily enough, we could have lethal next turn if he does not play like an Atraxa. Or if he does not do that. And no attacking here. Interesting. Now, do we go Enduring Innocence Sheltered by Ghosts, maybe? That seems like a solid play. I think here, if he board wipes, we're just fine with that. And the double Shelter by Ghosts feels pretty nice too. I think we want to put this on the Gremlin Tamer just to give it some ward. We will take that lockdown. Thank you very much. If he ever kills it, we actually end up locking down all of his 3/3s, which is pretty sweet. I think we'll put a counter on the Glimmer. And no attacks here. He's swinging with the homies. Now the question here is this a miscalculation from him? Like, if we just let it all go, what is he going to do? It's interesting because it feels like a board wipe attack, except I'm confused why he's not swinging with Tishana's, if that's the case. So we could just do this. And I think this is probably the safest play for us. It's okay if we take some damage, any board wipes. There's nothing we can do much about that anyway. And if he doesn't have a board wipe, then I think we're in actually a very commanding position now with this removal piece in our hand. Even if he drops an Atraxa or something. Archangel does kind of suck. Yeah, that actually really sucks here, because he can hit our Gremlin Tamer as well with the ward. Oh, he didn't. Interesting. Okay. Okay, are we winning here, right? So we can take the Archangel. We can put Shelter by Ghosts on something. We have so much protection here in our hand. I'm going to go ahead with our land drop. I think we're going to Sheltered by Ghosts. Probably on a Gremlin here. And put a counter on the Gremlin Tamer. That's what I'm thinking. He's thinking. So he's either got like a Leyline Binding or a Get Lost or something like that, probably. These domain matches are always like way too big brain for me. Solid draw, okay. Could have been better, but we'll take it. So we need to make sure that we're not going to die on the crackback here, right? If we go to combat and we start swinging with a lot of folks, I think we'll be okay. We can swing with the Innocence, the Gremlin Tamer. We have these 3 Shard Mage's Rescues, right? I don't think we're going to die next turn. Just need to be careful on that one, though. So he can only block one thing, and if he does, we can Shard Mages it. I think we may actually supposed to be swinging out here. If he cracks back next turn, we have double Shard Mage's Rescue. I think having one less blocker is probably the best bet, actually, so let's do this. And then we'll see what he chooses to block. gonna get lost that. Yeah, we have a handful of Shard Mage's Rescues, so we're gonna Shard Mage's Rescue that. We'll put a counter, let's see, probably on the Optimistic Scavenger, if he wants to trade. Oh shit! Oh no! Oh no, I did not see what he was targeting. It looked like he was targeting the Gremlin Tamer. Oh, that's so rough. Oh wow, I think we just lost the game to that. So we were definitely supposed to negate that. Oh, that's disgusting. Wow. It feels like the arena client is just not prepared for this. Yeah, we lost. That was just an absolute disgusting way to die. I think it says something about the resilience of this deck that we did have the ability to kind of make a comeback even though we just drew nothing but garbage for so long. The moment we drew a creature, we were actually kind of back in business against something as crazy as Domain. And if we had actually been able to realize that he was targeting the aura that was literally right underneath the creature rather than the creature itself, we even had the ability to negate that, and I think we were in a very winning position there. Yeah, this is a decent hand. Optimistic Scavenger into Inquisitive Glimmer seems pretty strong. Probably start with that. Ooh. We just keep queuing up into Golgari, which I think is our worst matchup. If you have not played the interaction between this and Golgari yet, it sucks so much based on the fact that they just have a crap ton of removal, which is very hard to combat with this deck unless you're actively holding up these. But the removal is so early, and stuff like Lily just forcing you to sack your creatures one at a time is absolutely brutal. And then on top of that, Glissa can destroy an enchantment when it hits, so it's like just completely gross, right? So here we will snag that Lily, and 4 lands and a get lost, a go for the throat does take me out here, which kind of sucks. Yup, speak of the devil. Yeah, good try though. I think here we'll probably pitch the Shard Mage's Rescue. Yeah, Lily puts us in like just an absolutely horrible situation with this deck as well, because oftentimes what they'll do is they'll just remove all your shit, wait until you only have like 1 creature in hand, and they have a Lily on board, so then they just sit around and wait for you to play a creature, and then they minus Lily and force you to sack it. And a lot of this deck's protection revolves around having either ward from your enchantment or like a Shard Mage's Rescue to have the... Okay, that's actually pretty solid for us. I think we need to do it in the other order. A Shard Mage's Rescue to get hexproof, but Lily, by virtue of being a sack, does not care about your hexproof. Yeah, so typically we would try to do Optimistic Scavenger and then the enchantment, but in the case of Enduring Innocence, drawing a card is so much more important than the counter. And in this case, having the land was perfect for us because Lily could have made us discard it anyway. I figured we either want to hit our land drop, or if we drew something else, it at least forces him to +1 Lily as opposed to minus it to try to get that thing out of our hand. I think we were just completely cooked in this situation anyway. He really just had the perfect start with just a ton of removal in his hand, plus the Lily, which is one of the 2 cards in this deck that completely destroys us. It looks like next turn we're getting minused by Lily. Good news is here we can bounce that and force him to block the Lily. We'll bounce that. And we'll put a counter here. Swing both at Lily. And again, we're completely losing this game, but worth a shot. Sure. And now I will be pretty surprised if he doesn't ult Lily. Yeah. So this is always a tricky one. I think a lot of people aren't exactly sure what to do when they're separating the piles. Some people put like all lands in one, which this guy did, and I don't think is always actually correct. Like in this position, I think keeping all the lands is probably right, because sacrificing these three things is not that bad. We could top deck stuff that ends the game when he's losing his Lily, unless he has another one in his hand already. In some positions, if they do this, you can actually just sack all of your lands and still win. I had this situation happen the other day where they were very low on life. They did this assuming that I was going to just sack all of my creatures and permanents, and I actually just sacked every land that I had, and then on the next couple turns I just had such an overwhelming board advantage and they had no cards in their hand that I was able to just kill them, I think, in 2 turns because they didn't draw any more removal or anything. So sometimes you do have to take a calculated risk. Here, like, that's just an absolutely awful draw. What is he gonna get? Iridescent Vine Slasher? Probably Enduring Innocence, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're already out of this game. This deck effectively functions as a control deck against us, where he can just kill everything early and then have a Restless Cottage that he played on turn 1 take us out in the long run. Let's see here. We're casting the Silent Hull Creeper. I don't know what he's holding priority for. Put some bluff stops up. And he's got removal, of course. This deck is just jam-packed with removal. Absolutely gross. He be searching. My bad, guys. That's what you get for checking your phone. This is why so many people have issues just sitting there holding priority or never resolving stuff. And now we get to just sit here and draw lands as we watch our own deck get played against us. The Golgari Free Strider plus Iridescent Vine Slasher combo is pretty sweet, though, I gotta say. It's a little bit rough that I think our 2 worst matchups are what we got paired into here today. Both Golgari and then... I'll go ahead and play that and pass. Golgari and Domain, I think, are probably the 2 single worst matchups in the format for this deck. This deck actually goes crazy against aggro because we have so much life gain and we have so much card draw, and yet we're still able to interact early. So if they're not able to remove all of our threats, we really just block, we just gain a ton of life, and then we draw all our cards back once they're out of stuff to do. Sure, you can reveal my hand. He's got it if he activates the Restless Cottage. We'll see if he remembers how to play Magic, because he's for some reason cracking his Fabled Passage right now. There you go. You remembered. You remembered how to do it. Okay. Good game. Alright, here... Things we board in. So this guy's going to run a ton of removal against us. I'm almost tempted to put in a negate against it. We really want to keep our like Shard Mage's rescues and hold on to those for dear life in this matchup. I think Ossification is pretty solid. It can just hit so much that he has. especially Liliana. I think we'll try the negates actually. Normally it feels a little bit weird to put in negate. What is this? Whoa, big negate. Normally it feels a little weird to put in negate against this matchup, but I think here it's just we really cannot let a Lily resolve or we kind of just lose on the spot. I've been testing Kidnap against this deck, and it doesn't feel that great. It's kind of like you expect them to like play an Aclazotz or Shieldred or something, and then if they don't do that, you just kind of feel like you're wasting your time. And I think especially against this build, this is the Free Strider plus Iridescent Vine Slasher build, which typically runs a lot more low to the ground and not quite as much beefy stuff. Like I don't think they're running the Overlords and that kind of thing. Could always be wrong about that, but in terms of what we take out here, I kind of think that Grand Entryway is not super great here. Just a 2-mana 1/1 if we don't have the Eerie trigger abilities from it does not feel very powerful in this matchup. This is much more effective when you're in the aggro grind, or if they're just flooding the board with stuff and you need a bunch of blockers. Bottomless Pool is pretty decent because you can just bounce their creatures, but I think because he's running that more low to the ground build, I'm not like thrilled about this one. So I think I'm going to take 2 Bottomless Pools out, and now we just have a pretty sweet removal package with our Ossification, still a couple of those, the negates for his Shellies and to combat his removal. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. Moral Laurel. Moral Laurel needs to have mercy on us Hurricane victims out here. I gotta say, the bathrobe was very much the right move. This is a cozy day in here. The weather cannot stop me when I'm protected by my robe. It's a cute little like Cerberus avatar he's got over here. Cerberus pet. I don't think I've seen this one before. I haven't been playing Arena for too many years, and so I love seeing these like older sleeves. Okay, he's down to 1 mulligan. I know a lot of you guys watch for the Arena content, but if you don't play Paper Magic, you should absolutely check it out. Paper Magic is way more fun than Arena even. You know, Arena is very satisfying with the fact that you can just queue up, you can play as much as you want, but playing in Paper just, it feels so good. This is probably removed, but we really do need to commit to the board here. Nice, okay. Now we purely just hold up negate for the rest of the game until we draw more lands. Okay, interesting. I don't think he has a go for the throat. We'll see if he's gonna... Okay. It feels bad to negate this, but I think we really do have to. Especially since he stumbled on his Fabled Passage. Does he have another cut down? Okay. Yikes. Well, we're gonna Ethereal Armor it. Probably get cut down in response is my imagination here. I don't know why he's cracking this in response. It's gonna come in tapped. Okay. We survived the potential of a cut down, so I don't think he has one. During Innocence, pretty bad draw here. Yeah, there's the Lily. Right on time. Well, he cannot minus the Lily on the Glimmer, so he has to have removal for this right now. He will discard a Bottomless Pool. I get scared every time Arena lags. I'm like, did the Hurricane just like destroy my internet? What's going on? Alright, we're good. Discard the Bottomless Pool. See what he does. Oh my god. Just the sheer quantity of lilies that we're experiencing today. Oh, perfect timing on the negate too. Absolutely gross. So again, showcasing how this is such a rough matchup for our deck. In this position, I think we're gonna hit the negate. We really wanted it for Lily. There's our third land. A little late on that one. I'm fine with Enduring Innocence here, purely because if he wants to remove it with Lily, he does have to kill Lily. The fact that he stumbled on lands makes me think that he might have more removal in hand. Nope, just a Free Strider lookout, so that's actually pretty good for us. We'll see if he wants to plus Lily or minus it. Okay. So I think now we might have a chance of getting back in, because we've seen 2 Lilies go to the grave. Even though his board presence is much stronger than ours, there are ways that this deck can come back, right? He's put a Tranquil Thrill back in the grave as well. Yeah, here we're just going to bounce the Free Strider lookout, try to slow him down a little bit. And then we got to pass here. It's funny that this always lights up, because you can actually technically enchant your opponent's creatures if you're just an absolute madman. If you want to be a degenerate and like flex when you're swinging for lethal and just like put a ethereal armor on your opponent's creature to make it like a 20/20 first strike that's tapped. And here, if we don't draw a creature, we're just going to die to death by 1,000 cuts from these little Vine Lashers. That's not a creature. I think this is likely game if he draws a land. No? Okay. Because he could have Demolition Fielded after the land and hit us for 8 pings plus all of the triggers from these dudes. I guess Free Strider, yeah, we're dead anyway. So, death by 1,000 cuts here. Look at all those pings. Yeah, so unfortunately in the 2 matches we got today, we kind of saw the weak points of this deck as opposed to the strong aspects of it. We got the 2 worst matchups that we could have gotten, which are Golgari and Domain. But you saw how even against Domain, this deck actually did have legs. And then against Golgari, we saw how if they just get certain cards like Liliana, it's so difficult for us to come back from. In the Domain matchup, I think we actually had a really good shot, but it was another example of how this deck actually really requires you to be careful when you're playing Arena, because targeting things is going to matter a lot, whether they're targeting your enchantment or the creature that it is enchanted with. So you need to be very careful. There's also been times where I've played like the bottomless pool that's going to trigger an Eerie, and you accidentally bounce your own creature because you think that the trigger on the stack is the Eerie trigger for a counter or something, but you accidentally put this trigger on the stack in the wrong order based on the way Arena stacks things if you're not careful about it. So yeah, I think overall it's a very fun deck. I encourage you guys to try it if you like this really synergistic archetype, or if you played this in draft and you had a ton of fun. That said, be careful if you're going to be playing in the Domain or the Golgari matchups, as they're really tough for you. But if you're playing like a more aggro deck on the opposite side of the field, you are going to absolutely obliterate them with all of your lifelink, all of your protection, and then just the massive creatures that you get out of something like Ethereal Armor. So I hope you guys try it. If you do, give me a comment, let me know how it goes for you, and I will see you next time. Peace.